And now we move on to the reflections that brings us this year's theme alive. Tonight's theme has reminded us that the story of Christianity in India is not simply written in churches, it is written in hospitals, in villages, in courts, and ultimately it has transformed lives. And the question is no longer, did Christians contribute? But the question is, what does faithful Christian witness look like in our generation? Our first speaker brings together two words that profoundly shape every nation: law and conscience. Advocate Tehmina Arora is a member of the Indian Christian Day Global Council, is a distinguished human rights lawyer based in New Delhi, and a founding trustee of the ADF India. And there are a host of other things that talks of her significant contribution. But it is our privilege to have her talk today on the contribution of Christians to social justice in India. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in warmly welcoming Advocate Tehmina Arora. Over to you.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. I have a short presentation, and if you can just give me a moment, I'll just try and set it up. Excuse me. Yeah, thank you so much again for this opportunity. And truly, it's an honor to be able to participate like this on the Indian Christian Day. And I start with the idea of human dignity. The Dignitatis Infinita, which is a more recent document, highlights what it means for every human person to have dignity. This is infinite dignity. It's inalienable. It belongs to us because we are human. Though this document is a 2024 document, it carries the very ethos of what the church believes, or the teachings of Christ, in terms of the idea of human beings being created in the very image of God, imago Dei. John Locke, who is a legal scholar and written multiple treatises on how social contracts exist, how we deal with governments, talks about this and how it shapes law itself. The fact that we are created in the very image of God shapes how laws should be made, shapes how policy should be directed. And this is the foundation of what we are going to talk about this evening very briefly, because this is not a normal concept. In fact, it is quite unique to our society for us to think in terms of everyone having dignity. Think about what Dr. Ambedkar said, that, constitutional morality, which is really equality, liberty, fraternity between communities, it's not a natural sentiment. This was once the Constitution was laid. He was saying that, what we are trying to do through the Constitution of India is not unique. It's not natural. People will have to learn it. This is only top dressing. It's the top soil on a society that is extremely undemocratic. When you think about this idea and contrast it now with how, as the Christian worldview, you see the very image of God in every human being, and there is a clash. And this clash is what resulted in so much social reform across many, many centuries. And how does this happen? Because laws don't write themselves. It is when this discussion takes place, when there is a debate, when there is a challenge, that's when laws get crafted. Somebody has to document it, somebody has to speak out of it, somebody has to challenge it, and that's when you begin to see policy change. And there were multiple things that we could have chosen from, but I'm choosing only three aspects and talking about social reform and human dignity. And the first, I'd like to just highlight this idea of dignity of women. I mean, I think that song was so beautiful because it really reflects how women have been targeted and the special heart of God for vulnerable communities and women being at the forefront of that. The vulnerability. And I want to highlight this one particular movement that was led, it was called partly the Janar Revolt, when other Christian women were told, and along with other women, that they cannot wear anything to cover their upper bodies. They must walk, especially this was for lower caste women, for women of the Christian community, the insult, the abuse that is being experienced on a daily basis. But what happens? Here, the London Missionary Society, over a period of 46 years, documents, talks, leads discussions, challenges culture. It was not easy. As an outsider, to be able to speak on these issues was not easy. But their consistent documentation ensured that there was now an opportunity to challenge that culture, eventually resulting in this royal proclamation. Or you think about Amy Carmichael's response when she confronts the violence against young girls, when she looks at the Devadasi system, when she creates a home for children to be able to find shelter, challenging culture. And you see this gradually getting built into the very constitution of India, a challenge and then the response. Um, but think about, and I know we've heard this ad nauseum, in fact, sometimes, but think about the idea of women being able to remarry after death, after their husband's death. They were being forced for centuries onto funeral pyres with their husbands, as men stood by, pushing them into the flames. And what happens here again? Christian leaders, along with multiple Indian leaders. And when I speak about Christian contribution, it is in no way to say that others were not there. But the fact that the church was being salt and light, changing culture, talking about what does it mean to challenge an existing norm. William Carey documenting this violence when he saw the kind of atrocities that were taking place against the women, documenting them, writing, petitioning repeatedly, along with multiple people coming alongside him, especially Raja Ram Mohan Roy. But this incredible idea of documenting violence, leading to the petitioning of courts, leading to policy being created, I think is something that, again, I just want to highlight how it then comes right into the Constitution of India, even the right to life being not animal like existence, but rather a fullness that we get. Um, and I think about the church's engagement with the caste system right from the very start. Um, Multiple people. I think about leaders within the church hierarchy challenging the caste system, calling out, making sure that they were engaging with those who are believed to be from the lower castes, challenging that very notion, building it into law, building it into policy, and then finally into the constitution. But this is a story that does not end. And I think about this Catholic nun who lives in Bihar now, Sudha Varghese, working with the Musahar community now, talking about their rights, speaking out, called the Cycle Didi because of her simple lifestyle, providing support to women on the ground, young girls on the ground, and of course, being recognized for her contributions. Because really, there is no end to the building of a country's social peace, or the social contract does not end like this. It is a regular, constant thing that is being demanded even of you and me. What does it mean for us to be Indian Christians now? Not only to hear about the wonderful contributions of those in the past, but what does it mean now in this present day to be Indian Christians? How do we challenge? How do we take lessons from Apostle Thomas and ask? If we do not understand, we ask questions and we seek to serve the vulnerable. And I really like this encyclical by Pope Francis, Fratelli Tutti, which talks about the Good Samaritan. We cannot afford to stand by when somebody is on the road bleeding. As Indian Christians, we must step in. There is terrible injustice happening in our land today, and we must learn to respond. I'll end now. Thank you very much.